Hey everyone, I was tagged by my friend Carla, Kagedfish Carla. We all know Carla, right? I was tagged by her to participate in the Glue Book Tag 2020 funness that's happening. This was started by Kay's Beautiful Struggle, and she has a handful of questions that she's asking of glue bookers so we can all kind of share our experience. And Carla asked me or tagged me to participate. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go through and answer the questions and show you some of my glue books, and maybe I will just sort of flip through them while I answer the questions so that you don't get bored, because we can't have that, right? Okay, so this is my Use It Up journal, kind of my first journal for no reason. And it was born when I was going through my collection of images from magazines, from collage sheets and printouts, you know, whatever. And I just was overwhelmed because I had too much. And a lot of them I just kept looking at. I'd see them every time I'd flip through my images and I was tired of looking at them. So I made this little journal as a home for some of those images, and it is really probably one of my few what I would call traditional glue books, and even it's not traditional because I did this in the style of Tangy Baxter way back when. But she recommended that you take a composition notebook and that you crumple up the pages and that you swipe some like ink pads across them, you know. Junk them up to begin with so that you're not all overwhelmed with these pristine white pages that you don't want to mess up, right? So that's what I did in this one. So the pages were already wrinkly and had some kind of paint or ink or something going on them. And then I just started gluing into them. So yeah, let me talk about that. Some people would say, well, then that's not a glue book. You know, that's a junk journal, or it's an art journal, or it's something else. And I don't get hung up on what we call our books, really. So, you know, to me, it may be a glue book. It could be a journal for no reason. It could be a use it up journal. It could be an en masse collection journal, a junk journal, a collage book, a scavenger hunt journal, you know, whatever. To me, it doesn't matter if it's strictly cut and paste or if there are other, you know, mediums being used. So with that being said, that means that I either have like a whole bunch of glue books or I have zero, depending on how you define a glue book. So yeah, okay, we'll go over that. But let's get into the questions. And oh yeah, the first one is, how many glue book magazine journals do you have? Like I said, a whole lot or none, depending on your definition of what a glue book is. So yeah, if I had to say, you know, traditional glue books, I maybe have one or two, if even that many, and then the rest of them have got some other medium in them. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really know how to answer that, because I am a little loosey-goosey on the definitions. Oh, there we go. So, question 2, which book is your favorite? Okay. That I can probably answer as long as I don't have to pick just one, because I can think of several that are my favorite. This one is one of my favorites. And this one I will go back occasionally and flip through it, and I'm still inspired by what I see. So that's the reason it's one of my favorites, because it's still inspiring. It reminds me not to overthink and not to worry about having this perfect composition. Just glue the stuff down because you like gluing, you know. That's what this reminds me of. It's like, okay, I've got this super cool image. I can hold on to it for years, just, you know, waiting for just the right place to put it, or I can just go ahead and glue it down in this journal for absolutely no reason, just so I have a place to keep it where I can visit it again and it brings me joy. So yeah, that's one of the reasons that this is one of my favorites. Another one of my favorites is a journal that I made years ago. Years and years ago. The cover is a half of a placemat, and I did it during a bookbinding workshop. I don't even remember what this binding is, but there it is. And then it's all black and white. And I love this. I love this so much. It's just something about the black and white contrast is still, it's a joy for me to flip through. I really, really like looking at the pages, and they're not difficult pages. I mean, this one was, you know, I loved this image just like it is, so I glued it down. I didn't do anything else. And this tells you how long ago this was. Y'all remember when we used to get the weird AOL discs in the mail, you know? Yeah, okay, that's how long ago this was. So, yeah, I love this one. The other one that I love a whole lot is one that I think a lot of you who have seen my videos before also love a whole lot, and that is Big Bertha. And my goodness, she doesn't fit in my frame. Well, that's okay. I have a playlist that has videos of Big Bertha flip-throughs during her progress. She is actually just a glue book. Now, I have done a little bit of doodling here and there, but 99% of Big Bertha is all glue book. And her bones were paint sample books from the, you know, like Home Depot and Lowe's, those kind of paint sample books. And then I've just glued stuff onto those books. And I made pockets and put stuff in the pockets. There's fold outs, there's flippy-doo deals. You know, there is just a lot going on in Big Bertha. And she's definitely one of my favorites. Again, I think because I do look through her on occasion and I'm inspired by what I see. And yes, she is a she. She has a personality. She also has sort of a cult following. Like, I get questions all the time. People will ask, so how's Big Bertha? What's Big Bertha up to? You know, like she's actually doing stuff. I'm thinking, well, she's just sitting on the shelf, you know, she's just kind of chilling out, not doing a whole lot. But for whatever reason, people love Big Bertha. So yeah, I do refer to her as a she, and she is still one of my favorites. I've probably not added anything to her in several years, but she's still, like I said, she's one that I go back to, I flip through, and I just really enjoy reliving what was done in this journal. So I think those three I would probably consider my favorite glue books, in my loose definition of glue books. Okay, which page is my favorite? That is like asking a mother which child is her favorite. Now, this is a question I can answer because I have one child, and luckily she is my favorite. But I cannot answer which page is my favorite, and it's not just because I have so many pages, it's because I can't remember them all. And sometimes flipping through these, you know, it's been so long, they're like all brand new because I had forgotten about them. So yeah, I cannot answer that question. What are my favorite magazines to harvest? My favorite magazines to harvest are those that I can get for free or for cheap. And, well, I'm just going to flip through this so that you have something to look at while I'm yabbering. actually harvest a lot of fashion magazines, and I like them because I like the imagery in them. You know, I have a thing for watches, watch faces, perfume bottles. I just cut those out almost any time I run across them, and fashion magazines have a lot of those. Harper's Bazaar, I've been harvesting a lot recently. I got a free subscription to that, and I have been enjoying it because the paper is a little heavier than some of the other fashion magazines. There's a couple magazines I subscribe to, Texas Monthly and National Geographic, and I enjoy harvesting those. I mean, I'm really not particular. I'll harvest from anything, but yeah, my favorites are the ones that I get either for free or cheap. How do you store your images and how are they organized? Okay, I watched some of the other videos, and this part of it was fascinating to me. I know a lot of people are using these baskets, which I have a whole stack of them over here. They're like these Dollar Tree baskets. They're awesome. I have a ton. I use them for everything, but I don't use them for my glue book collage images. And I'll show you what I do use. I don't think it's going to fit the frame any better than Bertha did, but I'll try. I'll put a link up. I think I have a video showing this. I use file folders. I keep them in this flat open cardboard box thing. They are arranged by category because that's usually how I think. I think in category. You know, when I'm doing a page, I'll think, oh, I need something. I think I want a bird over here, or I need a person on this page, or I need words up here, you know, like that. So that's why they're by category, you know, birds, backgrounds, butterflies, cemetery, drive-in movies, flowers, objects modern, objects vintage, people children, people brides, people heads, people full bodies, tickets, tags, watches, bling, cigar bands, bottles, you know, that kind of thing. I even have some color categories back here so that if I'm doing a color theme or if I just want like a little something green, I've got a folder of green things to choose from. So this is what works for me. Inside these folders, let me find one that shows you pretty good. Let's do birds. Okay, here's the bird folder, which actually started out as animals, and then I started collecting a lot of birds were in my animal folder, so I decided birds needed its own folder. So that's how that works. But I sewed in a sheet protector down the seam of the file folder, and that's what I use to keep the small pieces. You know, if I fussy cut me some little birds or whatever, they're in here so that they don't fall out of my folder, and then larger pieces I just put loose in there like that. So this works for me. This is what I like. It's all self-contained right here in one spot, and it's by category, which is what I need. I think I was watching Carla, Kagedfish, and she had hers in the baskets by size, because that's how she thinks. When she's working on something, she's like, okay, I need something big to put here. So she's got a basket of big stuff that she can go to. So that works for her. This works for me. Something different may work for you. I know a lot of people do by color, specifically by color. They'll put everything blue in one folder or one bin, and then, you know, everything pink over here because they think in color. So yeah, this is how I do, but you may do different. Okay, next question. Oh, how do you store? Do you have themed books? Yes, I don't have a lot, but I do. The black and white one I showed you, that's definitely a themed book. And I really think that this, let me get it. Remember this guy? Yeah, This is my En Masse collection journal, and of course it's full of, it's themed in that it's full of themes because, you know, the pages are different themes. And this was actually born from Kagedfish Carla's scavenger hunt journal. I watched her scavenger hunt video. She had this journal that had, you know, it was themed, and I just thought that is the best idea ever. I want to do that. So I took her idea and turned it into this En Masse thing. I didn't steal it from her. I asked her. I asked her if I could use her awesome idea, and she said yes. So let's just make that clear. I did not steal it. I don't do that. But yes, I was inspired by her, and then I took basically her idea and just ran with it a little bit more. So no matter what you call it, your En Masse collection journal, your scavenger hunt journal, your glue book, whatever, that's what this is. And like I said, I consider this to be themed because it's like a collection of themes. You know, here's my business card page, and then here's my washi tape pages. And, you know, I've seen a lot of En Masse collection journal videos, and a lot of them are very much what I would consider traditional glue book, you know, where the pages are not painted and there's no other medium. Mine, I think all of the pages started out painted before I started gluing on them. So, you know, and like I said, that doesn't bother me. That's just, you know, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to call it, go for it. So yeah, this is kind of a theme as well. There's green. Other than these, I really don't think, I mean, my journals really don't have much of a theme. They don't make sense to anybody, myself included. And I kind of like them that way. So yeah, I do have themes, but themes are not a huge thing for me. Do you have plans to start a new book? If so, what size, and will it be a theme? Yes, I do, and oddly enough, it will be a theme. Let me show you what I've got in my mind. I was looking through my black and white journal recently and was, you know, like I said, so inspired by it that I decided to make another one. So I've already started pulling images for it. I just went through my folders and just pulled out black and white anythings. Some of them have a pop of another color, pop of red. She's got a pop of pink. And, you know, I don't know that I will use all of these, but they are a starting point and they're inspiration. So I'm going to do another black and white journal. I've got, oh look, see, here's even more black and white stuff. It was time to do something black and white because I got way too much stuff. Clothing tags, everything. Even this paper, which I think is like a thick wrapping paper, and it's all black and white. And I may use that to cover the journal. This is what I'm going to use for my black and white journal. And this is a Moleskine that was out several years ago. They had different artists that did the covers for them. And it's an 8.5 by 11. So I had a lot of big black and white images, so I wanted kind of a big journal to put them in. So this is what I chose. And I'm just storing it all in here until I get around to doing it, because, you know, from idea to execution can be kind of a long journey for me. So yeah, that's the plan. I also have one more that I'm working on because I found this spiral notebook shoved in a box. I think it was probably from when Taylor was in school, is one she didn't use. And she's nearly 30 now. That tells you how long this has been sitting around. Okay, anyway, the paper is just really crappy. It's just thin, you know, school notebook paper. And they're probably going to pull out of here as I work on them because, you know, this spiral notebooks and thin paper, these just pull out so easy. So I may end up rebinding the whole thing, but that's okay. For now, I'm just going through, and this is going to be another use it up journal, because I've got a lot of images that I've collected over the years. I'm just tired of seeing them every time I flip through my image files, and they need to be put in a journal. So I've started out with some larger kind of background size ones, really just to reinforce these thin pages. And then I can build on these and start putting images in, and we'll just see how it goes. Oh, this is not going. There we go. So yeah, that's the plan for the 2 that I've got coming up. And since I never actually finish a journal, or I rarely do, you know, I can always add to. Those are works in progress, so there's always something going on. Where do I get my magazines? Again, while I'm talking, I'll just give you something to look at. I get my magazines anywhere I can find them, actually. You can get them if you have, you know, friends, neighbors who subscribe to magazines. You can nab theirs when they're done. You can pick them up from like thrift stores. That's what I'm trying to say. Thrift stores or charity shops or flea markets, and you can usually get them really cheap. You know, if I can get something, a magazine, I will pay 50 cents for one if it's got, you know, a lot of cool images in it. I don't mind that. I don't mind paying for them if they're, you know, cool and usable. So if I can get them really cheap, I'll buy them. You can go to recyclebank.com, and I have gotten free subscriptions there before. It's super easy. You just have to sign up, or, you know, make an account, and then you watch some videos and you answer some questions about recycling. You don't even have to get the answers right. You just have to, you know, answer them, and you build up points, and then you can redeem those points for some magazines. So it's easy, and it's just going to cost you a couple minutes of your time. So that's where mine come from. I do subscribe to a couple of magazines, and I subscribe to them because I like the magazine. You know, I read them. And then when I'm through, I harvest them when I'm done. So there's that. Next question, number 9. What is my favorite glue to use? Well, my favorite glue to use is the one that will stick a piece of paper to another piece of paper. That is my only criteria. So, I use lots of different glues. The one right in front of me is high on my list of favorites because, you know, effort. I'll use anything from, you know, I have this mixture of Elmer's and Mod Podge that I'll use sometimes. If I'm using, you know, like heavy paper, glossy paper, sometimes I want a heavier glue like Helmar 450 or Beacon 3-in-1. I will use, let me see what else is handy here. Perfect paper adhesive. This is a good one because it doesn't, it's not too bad. It doesn't build up on your hands as quickly as most PVA glues do. So there's that. There is, I don't have one handy, but I often use Tombo's Mono Multi Liquid Glue. That one dries tacky, so you don't want to. You want to make sure that you don't have any glue squeeze out on the sides because it'll be sticky forever. But that is a really good one for super stickiness. Just the one thing that I don't use a lot of is probably what most people use most, and that's glue sticks. I just have such trust issues with glue sticks, and I've bought and used good ones like the Oohoo glue sticks, you know, and they all fail on me. They seem to stick perfectly in the beginning, and then, you know, a couple months later, I flip back through the book and the stuff just peels right off, and I find that really irritating. So I just don't use a lot of glue stick. That's just me. So the question number 10, besides glue and scissors, do you use other tools or supplies in your books? paint, markers, whatever. Yes, obviously. This one I'm flipping through, I think is just mostly all glued in stuff. You know, it was more of a junk journal, and then I've just glued stuff here and there. But I'd say 99% of the time, most of my journals have got some other something done in them. You know, some paint or markers or doodling, or, you know, I've die cut something or punched thingies. So yeah, I do. I use everything in all of my journals, and I'm good with that, and I don't care what you call them. You know, you can call it a glue book or not. That's just how I roll. So yeah. And the bonus question, number 11, what advice would you give to a newbie? Okay, well, I just looked up and saw these two journals, so here's one piece of advice. This is, you may not call it a glue book, you may call it an art journal or something different, but I started it in 2004. And I did some art journaling pages in it, and then some that are more kind of glue booky pages in it. And there's where it ends. I just sort of lost interest, moved on to something else. I've got another one, kind of the same. I don't know when this was started, but I did a handful of things in it, some art journaling, and then some more glue book type pages. That's just strictly glue book right there. That one, I love this one. And that's it. If you're doing, you know, like you're working in a journal and like it starts to overwhelm you and you're just thinking, I just want to finish this and move on. And some people like have that need to finish. And if you have that need to finish and you need to finish this book before you move on, then you go and girl, you finish, or guy, you know, whoever, finish it if that's your thing. If that's not your thing and it's just like sucking the fun out of it, trying to finish it, set it aside and move on. It's okay. You're not going to be judged for having incomplete journals. You know, life is just difficult and full of have-tos, and this is one of those things where it shouldn't be a have-to. If you want to finish it, finish it. If you don't want to finish it, don't finish it. And I think probably the advice that a lot of other people have given, finding something else to flip through for you, is not to, of course, don't compare yourself to other people. I love watching videos. In fact, I've been watching a lot of new folks lately, and if you go to my YouTube channel, on my channel's homepage, on the right-hand side, there's a little bar that says something like support these small channels. And there's a new list now of some smaller channels that I've run across that I'm super duper enjoying. So check out that list, and if you don't know those folks, go to their channel and see what they have going on. And I completely forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, don't compare yourself to other people. I do watch a lot of videos for inspiration, but you know, the caveat with doing that is you tend to think that, okay, I saw what she did, so I need to do something just like that or of that same caliber. And then if it doesn't work out that way, you get frustrated. Just don't even go down that road. Because, you know, she's going to do like she does, and then you need to do like you do. And if you find joy just putting glue on the back of a piece of paper and sticking it to another one, then that's what you should do. And if it turns out looking great, that's awesome. If it turns out looking like a kindergartner did it, then that was your inner kindergartner telling you that she needed to come out and play. So do not deny her and do not judge her, okay? So yeah, give yourself a break. Don't hold yourself to these unreasonable standards. Don't compare yourself, you know, and that should just go with for everything in your life, basically, I think. Live your truth. Isn't that what the young people say today? Yeah, live your truth. Do what brings you joy, because you know, life is hard enough as it is, and then don't beat yourself up over the results. Just remember the joy that you got from the process of putting that glue on that piece of paper or slapping that paint onto that paper or whatever it was. And don't get held back by thinking that, well, you can't do it because you don't have access to the cool magazines that they have. You know, you see people with all of these cool images in their glue books, and you're thinking, okay, I don't know where they're getting those, and I don't have access to those. And I live in an area where I don't have access to these supplies. Use what you've got where you are, and then over time, see what happens. You know, if all you have access to is like Consumer Reports, and all you have is just images of vacuum cleaners, well, by gosh, if you enjoy cutting and pasting, you cut out those vacuum cleaners and you paste them. And you just have fun doing that. And you just keep doing it until the universe gives you different supplies. Okay? So don't let, in other words, just don't let anything hold you back from doing something that you love. Don't think that you have to have just the right supplies, just the right images, just the right amount of natural born talent. Just do it anyway. And I promise you, you know, it's worth it. It's worth it for the joy that it brings, and it's just so freeing to do that and to just be you. You just do you, right? So that would be my advice for anybody just starting out. You know, you don't have a cool junk journal to start with, well, that's okay. You can run down to your dollar store and get you a composition notebook or whatever. You can use an old magazine, something already in your house, an old book. Yeah, just don't get hung up on the mechanics of it. Just make do with what you have, because I think that's how all of this junk journaling and glue book thing probably got started, or the reason that it's taken off like it has is because we can just use what we have. We don't have to spend a ton of money on fancy machines and supplies and equipment and you know, all of that. We can just use the fodder of everyday life. So those are the questions, and let me keep flipping through stuff so y'all don't get bored looking at the tabletop. Okay, I think that my next thing that I'm supposed to do is to tag somebody. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to tag more than one person because, you know, I never met a rule that I didn't want to break. Not that it's a rule that you can only tag one person, but, you know, I'm going to tag more than one. So there. And here's what I'm going to tag. I want to tag Cecilia's art because everything she does is fabulous. And I would really love to hear her thoughts on glue books. And for the same reason, I would also like to tag Carol Martine because she does amazing art. And no matter what she does, whether she's just quickly sketching something out or she's constructing a junk journal, just everything that she does, she has just this certain flair, and I love watching her videos. So I would like to get her glue book take, and I would also like to tag Micki's Arts and Crafts. I just recently ran across Micki's channel, and I think she is fabulous. She has all kinds of goodness going on over there, and she does glue books, so I want to hear from her. And then if there's anyone who's thinking, oh, I would love to do that if someone would tag me, you can just consider yourself tagged. And in fact, you know, if you say, well, Shannon Green tagged me on this, I promise I will back you up. I will swear that I tagged you. Okay? So yeah. So don't feel like, you know, you have to sit around and wait for a formal invitation. Just play. Just come on. Just play. It's all right. So, that is, I think that's all I have. I love this. I really need to do more of this. This was mostly just magazine advertisements cut out and, you know, put together in different ways. I love this one. I need to do more of these. Yeah. So this was fun. Thank you so much, Carla, for tagging me, and thank you, Kay, for coming up with this idea for getting people to share about their glue books. And that is all I have for today. The end.